Jeremy, now is the time to actually look at what's been the impact of this ban, and then what now after the lifting?
Well, that's exactly the question. So Ronald Masinda reporting this evening that the sector itself is worth something in the region of 81 billion rand. But this particular ban, what does it cost the industry? And to answer that question, a senior agricultural economist from FNB, Paul Makube, good evening to you and welcome. And that's the big question tonight. Is it possible to quantify the impact, the financial impact?
Thank you very much and good evening. At the moment, it's not easy to quantify the impact, but we know exactly what has happened with the previous outbreak in January last year. Although we got a quick recovery from the FNB outbreak, the collaboration between industry and government ensured that we had a quick turnaround in terms of the resumption of exports, which were actually banned at that stage. The wool sector was affected. We export about over 70% of our exports goes to China. The exports to China were halted and so on. So the impact was quite huge, and we saw with the latest figures from around exports that agricultural exports took a dive in 2019.
There's always the lag factor as well. The actual quantification will come later, but there's also a loss of confidence, perhaps, and that could be felt for quite some time, given that we've now dealt with two particular outbreaks.
Yes, definitely. It does dent confidence. But I mean, if you look at it, the lessons learned from these two outbreaks within a year, it was a lesson for the industry, and we've seen collaboration within the industry with government. We've seen this year, first time the discussion around the livestock tracing system. So there are initiatives to actually address this biosecurity concern, and the fact that it has an impact on exports and our trading partners, and FMD is a notifiable disease, so therefore we need to be cognizant of that, and I think that collaboration will ensure that in future the biosecurity situation is contained.
Look, I know you're not a livestock expert, you're an agricultural economist, but is there a sense within the industry that both farmers themselves and government have a better handle on this, that should this happen again, perhaps action will be taken a lot more swiftly?
Yes, as I said, from the initial outbreak in January and the speed at which this matter was addressed, and where we saw within 3 months we almost back exporting. That's the extent to which this collaboration is happening, and the commitment to address the disease situation. One
of the problems that the Minister is saying is that there will still be strict requirements for the sale of livestock. The problem surely is capacity in terms of enforcement. Yes. It's a big industry, isn't it?
Yes, it's a big industry. The spread across the country, the movement of animals, quarantining animals. You've got limitation in terms of the resources that you can have, but you have to put them in place, and the impact is felt throughout the value chain, and everybody feels there's a need to actually do this, and therefore, hence that collaboration. So, despite the fact that there are limited resources, we see this drive to actually try to contain the disease. Otherwise, it's a bad situation for the sector.
There's also a degree of incumbency, I would imagine, on buyers themselves, who have been exhorted to undertake due diligence before they enter into any kind of purchase agreement. So it's a case of buyer beware in this case as well. They're going to have to be a lot more careful.
Yeah, the cattle buyers themselves. If you want a clean herd on your farm, you must ensure that you have the animals come from a certified area, and also somebody with a certificate to ensure that they are clean of the disease, because there are implications if your herd is actually detected that you are the source. So it is very important. So those strict measures are going to be put in place, and to ensure that the industry get out of this situation.
And as we've seen, those consequences can be very severe. Thank you very much for joining us for that insight. Senior Agricultural Economist at FNB Business, Paul Makube, appreciate it.